What makes the killer whale the absolute terror of the ocean is not just its sheer strength. It is their flawless coordination, their surgical precision, and attacks calculated to near absolute perfection. From seals and sharks to prey, many times their own size, when a pod of killer whales begins to tighten its deadly grip, the chance of survival virtually vanishes. Let us witness some of the most terrifying killer whale attacks ever caught on camera. From the freezing waters of the poles to tropical seas, the killer whale reigns as the undisputed apex predator of the food chain. They live in fiercely tight-knit matriarchal societies where lethal hunting skills are rigorously passed down from generation to generation. A massive brain and a highly complex communication system allow the entire pod to coordinate with staggering efficiency. When intelligence reaches its absolute peak, who truly rules the ocean? Even when hunting the exact same type of prey, every orcapod employs its very own distinct tactical approach. They meticulously observe their environment, learn from rigorous experience, and pass these lethal skills down through countless generations. The true genius of the orca lies in its profound adaptability to every single ocean realm. In Antarctica, a leopard seal finds precarious refuge atop a floating ice floe. But lurking below the killer whale pod has already begun to coordinate. Utilizing the terrifying wave-washing technique, 4 hunters accelerate simultaneously just beneath the surface to generate a massive synchronized wave, systematically shattering the ice floe and rapidly shrinking the target's final safe haven. The seal clings on with desperate resilience, frantically scrambling back onto the ice every time it is washed into the freezing sea. The hunters exhibit horrifying patience, relentlessly applying pressure until the prey is completely exhausted and incapable of hauling itself back onto the ice. Under such relentless, crushing pressure, absolutely no prey can escape. Over on the Valdez Peninsula, the local pod deploys an even more perilous tactic: to hunt elephant seals. Surfing the rising tide and the crashing waves, they accelerate and launch nearly their entire massive bodies onto the dry shore to snatch targets resting right at the water's edge. This is an attack that demands absolute, uncompromising precision. But for the masters who have perfected this strike, the boundary between the ocean and the land is no longer a limit. Every winter, killer whale pods travel thousands of miles to the treacherous waters of South Africa to hunt gathering pods of foraging dolphins. One squad of orcas spreads out into a wide tactical arc, while others dive deep below to seal off any escape routes into the abyss. They do not rush to accelerate. Instead, they maintain a calculated distance, seamlessly adjusting their positions with every single frantic turn their prey makes. This prolonged, agonizing pressure forces the dolphin pod to continuously change direction, causing their tight formation to slowly fracture into chaos. Only when a single individual falters and is violently separated from the pod's protection do the predators finally tighten their deadly grip. The orca hunts through absolute coordination, only delivering the fatal blow when the target is entirely isolated. The one separated from the herd is almost always the first to disappear from the hunt. In the abyssal depths, the great white shark is the ultimate symbol of oceanic power. Stretching over 16 feet, 5 meters in length, weighing well over a ton, and armed with a devastating bite force, it easily overpowers the vast majority of prey in a single strike. Sometimes a single slow, menacing glide is enough to send a target into a panicked frenzy, forcing it to change course. But the sheer power of a solitary predator still has its limits. Their iconic black and white coloration allows the orcas to approach the massive shark completely undetected. The lead matriarch initiates the battle with a devastating ramming strike directly into the shark's flank. The rest of the pod instantly closes the trap relentlessly, forcing their adversary to change direction until its vulnerable white underbelly is exposed. With absolutely no room to escape, the solitary shark rapidly loses all control over the confrontation. Days later, its carcass washes ashore with its liver completely missing, the incredibly oil-rich, high-energy organ that killer whales surgically target. In Monterey Bay, a family of 5 transient killer whales spots a gray whale mother and her calf rapidly organizing a deadly perimeter. The mother constantly violently rolls, using her massive body as a shield and desperately attempting to lift her calf onto her back to keep it near the surface. But the grueling confrontation stretches on for nearly 4 agonizing hours, slowly draining the mother's remaining strength. The orcapod relentlessly takes turns closing in, forcing the mother to constantly shift her position. The exact moment a single gap opens up, they instantly intercept the calf, physically blocking it from surfacing for air. Once the exhausted calf can no longer cling to its mother, the fatal execution is breathtakingly swift. The colossal mother is utterly powerless to save her young. Brutal, but this is the unyielding law of nature. A realm where the survival of one must inevitably be paid for by the life of another. Sometimes the greatest opportunities only arise when they dare to push beyond the limits. In a documented hunt off the coast of Western Australia, an estimated 50 to 75 orcas coordinated to bring down a colossal blue whale, the largest animal to ever exist on Earth. Possessing the staggering intelligence of a dolphin combined with the raw power of an apex predator, the orca stands virtually unrivaled in the ocean. Through calculated acoustics and meticulous approaches, they can even deceive a young humpback calf into voluntarily following them, completely isolating it from its mother's protection. In another unfolding drama, the massive convergence of thousands of mobula rays in the Sea of Cortez rapidly attracts a pod of killer whales. The orcapod immediately closes in from all sides, violently forcing the prey to contract into a dense, swirling mass. The rapidly shrinking space instantly throws the ray formation into absolute chaos. In sheer panic, numerous individuals launch themselves completely out of the water. Mobula rays can vault roughly 6.5 feet, 2 meters into the air, enough to evade a direct strike for a few fleeting seconds, but not nearly enough to carry them beyond the deadly perimeter. Another massive hunt involving 30 killer whales is already underway. This time, they have locked onto a minke whale. the minke whale desperately exploits every conceivable opening to find an escape route. But the orca pod rapidly scatters in multiple directions to seal the trap. They violently submerge their prey, denying it any chance to breathe. The entire pod sustains the crushing pressure, shrinking the battlefield and waiting with terrifying patience until the minke whale's breathing rhythm fundamentally breaks. Ultimately, the minke whale is brought down in the heart of the open ocean. Every single hunting tactic deployed by the killer whale is the ultimate culmination of millions of years of evolution and countless generations of rigorous shared learning. Yet these extraordinary populations are currently facing catastrophic threats from toxic pollution, deafening underwater noise interference, and severely depleting food sources across many oceans. Fiercely protecting our oceans is the only way to ensure that these miraculous, awe-inspiring hunting cultures continue to be passed down from one generation of orcas to the very next.